Look, what is happening up north right now is an absolute bombshell that could completely shatter the balance of power in the NFC North. But while our biggest rivals are spiraling into chaos, our front office just pulled off the heist of the century. We have got a massive legal situation developing with Green Bay Packers star running back Josh Jacobs that has the entire division on high alert. While behind the scenes, the footage just dropped proving that we stole an absolute superstar in the first round of the draft. If you want to stay ahead of every major breaking story, roster shakeup, and unfiltered divisional updates all season long, make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your crew, and hit subscribe right now to join the family. Seriously, how crazy is it that while one team is trying to figure out how to keep their star player out of jail, our coaching staff is literally sweating through their shirts out of pure excitement over our newest defensive weapon? Let us dive straight into the chaos in Green Bay because this situation with Josh Jacobs is getting messy, fast. The star running back was arrested and booked into the Brown County Jail on 5 separate counts stemming from an alleged domestic incident. The initial rap sheet dropped on him includes a felony charge of strangulation and suffocation, alongside 4 misdemeanors: battery assault, disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, and intimidation of a victim. Leaked dispatch audio from local news has painted an incredibly tense picture, with initial emergency calls reporting loud screaming, yelling, and the sound of objects being thrown before a neighbor called and confirming an assault took place. According to police reports, Jacobs allegedly fled the scene in his Mercedes G-Wagon before police arrived, but authorities tracked down the vehicle using license plate reader cameras. Look, we all absolutely despise Green Bay, but from a human standpoint, you never want to see these situations play out, and we have to let the legal system run its course before completely burying the guy. But from a pure football standpoint, if this case goes south, if the league hands down a massive suspension, or if the Packers are forced to cut ties completely, it completely alters the dynamic of the division. Which brings us to the question of the day that everyone needs to weigh in on. If Josh Jacobs is suspended for a significant portion of the season or cut by Green Bay, do you think the Packers completely fall out of the playoff race? And exactly how many wins does this add to our total? Drop your exact predictions in the comments section below right now, because I want to see what you guys think. Let us be real about our rivals up north. Their entire offensive identity under Matt LaFleur relies heavily on Jacobs establishing a violent ground game to open up those deep play-action shots for Jordan Love. Without him, that running back room is dangerously thin. You are looking at Chris Brooks and Marshawn Lloyd, a guy who has been constantly banged up since being drafted. Even LaFleur publicly admitted that Lloyd has to prove he can actually stay on the field. The Packers are keeping a complete lid on the situation, blocking player media access, and trying to stay as quiet as possible, hoping this just fades away. But if Jacobs misses time, Green Bay is in catastrophic trouble because you cannot compete in this division with a non-existent run game. Meanwhile, while they are panicking, our front office is putting on an absolute clinic on how to build a championship roster. The newest episode of our behind-the-scenes documentary series just pulled back the curtain on the NFL draft, and the energy in that war room was pure electric. We managed to secure elite Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman at pick number 25, and the footage shows our leadership was practically losing their minds that he fell to us. Our head coach, Dennis Allen, literally walked right up to the front office after the pick was submitted and said, "I love this player." Not like, not appreciate, but straight up love. That is exactly what you want to see from a functional, elite organization where the front office's talent evaluation aligns perfectly with the coaching staff's schematic vision. Even offensive coordinator Ben Johnson was visibly fired up about getting this kid into the building. Dylan Thieneman is an absolute football junkie with elite character and ridiculous collegiate production. He was a dominant force for 2 years at Purdue, easily acting as their best defensive player, before transferring to Oregon and fitting like an absolute glove on a team competing at the highest level of college football. The draft community and every major post-combine mock draft had this kid locked in as a top 20 lock. Some experts had his absolute floor at pick 20 to Dallas, while others had him going as high as number 12. So when he started sliding and completely fell into our laps at number 25, it was an absolute gift from the football gods. Our head coach actually admitted to Thieneman on their official draft call that he was a primary target all along, but they never dreamed he would actually be available at 25. The boss confessed he was sitting in his chair getting serious pit stains from pure nervousness as the picks ticked down, praying nobody else would snap him up. That unfiltered, raw excitement shows you exactly what kind of defensive identity we are building. The front office targeted a specific blueprint this offseason: hyper-athletic, versatile chess pieces who can play at all three levels of the secondary, elite open-field tacklers, and safeties who can genuinely man up in single coverage. With Dylan Thieneman and Kobe Bryant, we now have two young, dynamic safeties who can completely transform how we play defense. And look, this is not a shot at Kevin Byard, who was a phenomenal leader for us last year and will likely do great things out in New England, but let us be realistic about the physical limitations of a defensive back entering his 30s. Even if Byard possesses a slight edge in veteran instincts right now, who would you rather have anchored in your secondary 2 or 3 years from now? Byard is fighting father time, whereas Bryant and Thieneman are two ascending, young stars who can grow, communicate, and lock down the back end of this defense together for the next half-decade. Our secondary coach, Matt Giordano, revealed this week that the staff is already throwing the entire playbook at the rookie. They are using him in the box to stop the run, dropping him into the deep post to erase vertical routes, and asking him to disguise coverages. Dennis Allen absolutely salivates over defensive backs who can mix and match responsibilities. It is the exact same reason he brought in a veteran playmaker like Tyrann Mathieu later in his career with the Saints, because having a safety who can do a little bit of everything completely paralyzes opposing quarterbacks. This versatility is going to unlock a completely new defensive package compared to what we saw last season. Last year, injuries and a lack of ideal personnel forced us into predictable looks. Especially when you look at a guy like Jaquan Brisker, and I am not trying to throw shade here because he is an absolute hammer in the box, but the reality of the modern NFL is that if a safety cannot cover, he becomes a liability. Brisker is phenomenal close to the line of scrimmage, but in 2026, you cannot survive with a one-trick pony at safety when creative offensive coordinators are hunting mismatches on every single down. Thieneman and Bryant give us elite coverage flexibility, allowing this defense to disguise its intentions and bring exotic pressures that we simply could not execute last year. The balance of power is shifting right before our eyes, our rivals are facing massive instability, and our secondary is officially locked, loaded, and ready to terrorize the league.